Hi, my name's gwEm. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So a few weeks ago I did a third Twitch feed where I explained some stuff in maxYMiser about adding fake reverbs and delays and making your lead sound a lot more spacey. But the problem was that I had some technical problems during the stream, and I had a look back at the files that were saved, and they were completely useless really, and I had a look to see what Twitch had stored, and it wasn't much better. So I don't want to redo the stream, but on the other hand I did feel like there was some valuable information, so I'm going to do this video which is kind of the highlights of that stream, and we're just going to focus on the 3 reverb techniques that I had covered in that stream. So first of all, let's start by listening to the current state of the track. Okay, that's where we are with the track at the moment. So it's sounding not that bad, to be honest with you. But I know that when you add some reverb effects, it will really start to pop. So the first technique I'm going to show you requires using another channel. I'm going to just use the channel where the string effect was. So what you want to do is copy the lead into the second channel. And then you want to insert a little bit of a delay. So you can do an 8th note like that, 2/16. 3 also works, but in this case I'm going to have 4 16th note spaces. That will already start to give us sort of a reverby kind of feeling, but it will need work. Let's just have a listen to what we've got there. Now here you can see we've got this B which has dropped off the end of this pattern due to the insert. So I'm just going to copy that for the purposes of this demonstration. I'll put it there. Now the other thing that you can clearly hear is that the second channel is nearly just as loud as the first channel. So I'm going to turn the volume of the second channel down a bit. I can do that in the transpose section, and I will just increase the volume in that track a couple of steps. Let's have a listen. Right, that's already sounding better. One of the things I've noticed is that by inserting this track, starting with a blank one, I've removed this nice swing that I had, but I can use this mask to just focus simply on cutting and pasting that effects column. So I can paste only that in. I'll reset that mask, and now the timing should be right again. Right, that's pretty good, but there is a clash happening. Now one way to avoid this might be to create another instrument, which I will do now, and I'll just call it reverb. and it will simply be a square wave So here I've just set the volume envelope to maximum, and in the mixer sequence I've just enabled the square wave. So I'm going to remap the lead in the reverb channel to use the new reverb instrument. You do that with this instrument remap feature in the advanced edit, so it's going from instrument 7 to instrument 6. And I just want to do it in the track. Right, let's have a listen to what we've got now. The reverb instrument is now a little too loud. We can reduce the volume of it even more though. Let's try that. Okay, I think that's reverb is sitting quite well, so I'll play that lead with and without the reverb channel. Okay, so that was obviously without it, and now I've just enabled it. It's adding a lot more richness and fullness and space to the lead. Now the disadvantage of that technique though is that it has used up an entire channel, which may or may not be appropriate in your track. Depends on the situation. It can be nice to even have a third channel of reverb and make it sound really big then. But in this particular instance, I've got a lot of other stuff going on and I don't particularly want to spare a whole channel just for that. So I'll go back to how it was at the start of the video and I will talk about the second method. So one easy thing you can do to make it sound sort of reverb-ish is to drop the volume on the step before a new note starts. Now, some people like to do it, 2 steps or 4 steps, but I like to do it 1 step before, and I like to reduce the volume by 1. Now, again, some people will choose a different volume level. On the feed that we did, someone suggested dropping it to 5. That's what they do in their tracks, and obviously that works for them. But I'm going to go with my favourite. But you can experiment yourselves and see what you prefer. And you just drop the volume on every single note 1 step before a new one starts. Now without it. It's not really a reverb, but it does soften it, and it is very quick to do. But I will show you now the most advanced technique for doing a fake reverb. So how it works is this. You do the technique with the dropping the volume by 1 as I've done it here. And then you need to consider each position where the volume is 1 in turn, but you skip the first one initially at least. So here we're going to put a note in this position that I've highlighted. And that note is the note that you played 2 before. So we don't play G, we play this A there. A5, and we also remove the instrument number so that it doesn't re-trigger the start of the note, and we drop the volume level by 1. Now here in the next position, 2 notes before it was a G. Again we remove the instrument number, the volume is 1. Here, 2 notes before is an A. B. So here is B. Now if you remember, I did leave the first one as a gap, so we can wrap this around now. So that's a B, the last note's a B. So we can play that B here. Now I'll play that and you can hear the effect of the fake reverb. When it goes on to the second pattern, you'll hear very clearly that it drops out and you kind of miss it. The next thing that you can do is to add portamentos to your lead, which will make it super demo scene sounding. So in order to do that, you need to enable portamento on the square wave and the timer, because this lead instrument, if you look at the mixer sequence, has the square wave and the SID enabled. Now I don't have any particular method or science behind where I put the portamentos. I just kind of do it by ear and decide where I think it would sound cool. Let's just go through this pattern quickly. I think it might sound quite nice with one there. So you put a P in the effect column and then it's the portamento speed. And I find 4 is a good place to start. I can tweak it. Here the note is quite close together. It's just gone from an E to an F, so the slide doesn't need to be as long. That's sounding good. Now let's say I want to put a portamento on this A note here, and in fact I will do that. Now the actual previous note, before we added the fake reverbs, it was a G, right? But the fake reverb note is a B, so with the next actual note being A, if the fake reverb wasn't there, it would slide up into the A. But our fake reverb note is here a B, so it's actually going to cause the slide to go down. So it will sound a little weird. Let's play it and watch out for the portamento on this A in position 22. It sounds a bit odd. The brain knows that the actual previous note was G. So what you can do here is just to remove that fake reverb note. So we have the more basic effect here by dropping it to 1, so that's less good. We won't have that reverb happening, at least not as strongly, but on the other hand the portamento will sound correct, which is much better. It's a lot more natural sounding now. Some other tips to think about when you're doing fake reverbs and portamentos. You can definitely have too many portamentos, use them sparingly. The second thing is, I've used here a fake reverbs on every single note. Now, you don't actually have to do that. Certain other musicians, such as DMASC, for example, they'll put the fake reverb only on some of the notes to give just a feeling of the reverb. And that is an approach you might want to look into too. It's certainly a lot easier to do that, and it frees up some bandwidth in the tracker for doing other stuff. I personally like to put it on every note I can, but that's not necessarily the right way to go. And there might be some other ways for you to experiment yourself with reverbs. These are only 3 techniques basically that I've shown you, but there's other ways of creating space as well. On the feed itself, a couple of the attendees already came up with their own ideas for adding reverbs, just inspired by this. So definitely go out and experiment with this. It's a subtle thing, but it does make your track sound a lot larger. Now, before I end this video off, I will just play to you what I ended up with at the end of that stream, with fake reverbs and portamentos on every section of the track. So here we go. And there we go. I hope that was useful. It's just a quick summary, really, of what happened on the Twitch feed, but hopefully in good quality. I hope you'll consider liking the video and maybe even subscribing to my YouTube channel. Stay tuned for more videos. We've got techno stuff, a lot of chiptune, some rave as well. All the stuff that's good, basically. See you next time.